welcome to the Business Made Me Do It podcast, episode number 8. If you were listening on a podcast app, I really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, great. We redistribute everything to both platforms to give the most amount of reach to the podcast. So, on today's episode, we are talking about, should you boost your Facebook post? It's a very good question. I get asked it a lot, and I'm going to go over what I think about it and what you should be doing, in my opinion, of should you boost your Facebook post or should you not? So, long story short, I'm your host, Caleb Shore. I create a Conversion Stream, a digital marketing / advertising agency based in Atlanta. So, I have some experience with this. I get asked a lot, should I boost my post? It's a very common question, and I'm going to go into detail right now. So, long story short, it depends. It depends on your objectives. It depends on your business. It depends on your goals. And with that being said, there are essentially 11 major ad objectives for Facebook. Boosting a post is one of those 11 options that you have. So of the 11 options, the engagement is what essentially, aka boosting your post. Engagement is the objective in Facebook. So all that is you are going to get, it's very easy to do, by the way. If you haven't, I'm sure you've seen that little blue button that says boost post. Super easy to do. It's kind of like the entry level into Facebook advertising. So all it is going to do is get you more engagement on your content. So more likes, more comments, more shares, and that is it. It's not a bad thing, but past that, it's just essentially social proof of what you're talking about, it could be an advertisement. It could just be, saying call the business. It could be a deal. I don't know exactly what you're going to be advertising, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. I don't know if you guys have seen the meme of the iceberg. It's like the very top, and then everything under the water is like the huge part. That is just one of the 11 pieces. So essentially, Facebook breaks it down into 3 categories: awareness, consideration, and conversions. Those are kind of the 3 overlying categories. And then within those, there's 11 total. So 2 fall under awareness, which is the first part. So essentially, you have awareness, then consideration in the buyer journey, where people are considering what you're offering, and then the conversion is technically the third section in Facebook advertising, where people actually convert, and you can track those conversions to an ROI, which at Conversion Stream, that is one thing we are dead set focused on. It's like, what is the ROI of marketing? That is one thing in marketing that is very not talked about. A lot of people will just generate leads and then say, here you go, here's your leads, have at it. A lot of agencies don't talk about the follow-up and the sales cycle and the process, and proving what they're doing is actually working. So that's one thing that we are super focused on. But to go back to it, the 3 sections: awareness, consideration, and conversion. Awareness, there's 2 subcategories: brand awareness and reach. And then consideration is the majority of them. You got traffic, you got engagement, which is the boosting of the post, app installs, video views, lead generation, which is a new one, and then messages. And then on the conversion, quote unquote conversions, is conversions, catalog sales, and store traffic. That's kind of the end of the sales cycle there. But without going into too much detail, there's plenty of better YouTube videos and podcasts about the different subsections and which one's the most popular and what you should be using. For us, the main ones we use is traffic, so like leading to a landing page, lead generation, which is we've had a lot of success with that one, and then conversions on the back end. That requires some additional setup. It's more of an advanced option, but that's where you really take that next step in advertising, where you can see the ROI and you can prove it to your client what the ROI is. So for example, if you spend $3,000 a month with us, we can prove like, hey, this turned into 10,000 or 15,000, or maybe it's like only it returned 3,000 back. Maybe it returned 4, but at the end of the month or the end of the contract or whatever it is, we can prove that, hey, you spent this amount, you got this in return, which is return on investment, which which we are dead set focused on doing everything to prove that ROI. So, long story short, engagement / boosting your post is just the tip of the iceberg with Facebook advertising. It's I don't really consider it advertising because there's so many more things you can do. It is essentially just a way to increase engagement on your content. Once you get into like putting ad traffic to a landing page, pushing them off Facebook and converting them onto your website or a landing page. Let's just say you have a $27 teeth whitening for a dental office. Say you have that. Engagement isn't really going to move the needle with that, but creating like a traffic objective to convert on a landing page, and then how many conversions, and then what do those conversions create in actual ROI. So the average lifetime value is about $8,000 to $10,000 on like a dental patient, for example. They usually spend about $800, I think it's $700 to $800 a year at your dental office, one new patient. So if we can spend, let's just say 800. They spend $800 a year. You could technically spend $799 to get that patient, and then it pays for itself that first year, and then everything after that is just gravy. Is just money on top of that. So to really understand the logistics of it, we do a full analysis on what the average lifetime of the customer is, what you're wanting to spend. Business owners usually know that. If you don't, reach out to us. We can definitely help you with that. But long story short, on boosting a post, there's no direct ROI. Some people definitely like likes and comments and shares, but it's hard to kind of prove what that turns into from a actual business standpoint. So I personally, I don't think anyone should do it. It's kind of the entry level into Facebook advertising, which is our bread and butter. But I think it's kind of a waste of money, to be very honest and frank with you. We would rather do like a landing page, set up a landing page and drive traffic there. But yeah, long story short, I think boosting a post is an absolute waste of money. We never do it from an advertising standpoint. We even for clients that don't work with us, we steer clear from boosting your post. Actually set up a business manager and use one of the other objectives. It's gonna help long term. I know people are kind of dead set in the short term with, I got 100 likes on my photo or video or whatever it is, but it's like, to really move the needle in your business, you need to figure out a way to increase ROI versus increasing engagement. So that is my tips and tricks on should you or should you not boost your Facebook post. Just to recap, I would use maybe a traffic or a lead generation or a conversions if you're well advanced in the Facebook marketing space. If you have any questions, reach out to us, conversionstream.com. And once again, this is episode number 8 of the Business Made Me Do It podcast. Cue the outro.